Yeah.
Let's shift gears now to building a team of people. And that's an important part of this industry, an important part of the business if you want to make a lot of money in ACN. I think a good place to start with that would just be presenting. I
Mm.
want to talk to you about doing the presentation on your own. I guess the first place to start is, when was your first one? Were you perfect at it? Super polished like you are now? How did that go? And what allowed you to get better at presenting?
I was not super polished the first time. I did present pretty early on instead of like just because my schedule is not the same like everybody else's schedule. So when somebody is available, I'm going to make myself available so I can present that information to them. So I did it one on one and it was very early on and it was fine because I let them know. I actually was like, you know what? Usually I don't present this because there's a whole bunch of other people who can present it and present it better than me, but I know the information. So I'm going to go and let you know it. And if you have any questions, no problem. We'll ask if I'm unable to answer it. So that worked out well. They, gave me grace and listened to the information and were, intrigued by it anyways, right?
You said something when we were talking about customer acquisition that whether it was your warm contacts or your acquaintances, you approach people about the business first. And
Yeah.
in terms of team building, I think that's a hallmark of people that have a team, and the people that struggle to build a team. That's a clear defining factor. So,
Yeah.
when did you make that mental shift in this industry that you should be doing that, and that's how you should be building your business?
Like I've always kind of thought that way, but what really sealed the deal for me is one of our SVPs within the company who named his story about how he got started. He was a customer for years. And then after being a customer for years, somebody else approached him on the business side of things, not the person who he was a customer of. And then he became that business partner of the person who approached him business wise. And he already knew the services because he was already a customer. Had the person who showed him to become, or who got him as a customer, showed him the business, or at least got him directed to whoever could show him the business, he would have potentially joined with that person. So that sealed it into my head because I don't want anybody that I have as a customer not knowing that they can make some money from this.
That's
Right. So
awesome.
even once I get them as a customer, I make it very clear again, should you ever decide at some point in time that you'd like to make some money off of this, let me know and I will help you with that as well.
That's a great tip. um, when somebody does the presentation and they get through it finally at the very end, they're left with probably the most nerve wracking thing for a brand new person, which
Yeah.
is asking for a decision, collecting a decision. And typically, new people ramble a lot or get nervous. What's your tip for having a strong, decisive close?
My tip is to understand you will get nervous about it. So I still get nervous asking people. 'Cause even though I've asked them to see the information, I've shown them the information, I still get nervous. But in the end, just kind of you just ask because if you don't ask, you won't get a decision. So the worst that they can say to you is no, or well, to me, the worst that they can say is, let me think about it. And then I'm like, shoot, I have to follow up. like, I'm like, I'd rather get a no half the time.
So let's go down that dark path together then. So let's say somebody does want to think about it and they see the presentation. What are some next steps that you take? Because new people are going to experience that too. And it's very difficult to take somebody off the fence and get them to be a yes or a no. We'd like just an answer.
yeah.
So, what are some things you do to help push that person in the direction of an answer that's right for them?
I go ahead with the follow up type thing. So first, I make sure they're understanding, no pressure with anything, but what are some of the questions you may have about what you just saw? Maybe it's something I can help you with. And then they'll tell me whatever it is. I'll be like, okay, that makes sense. If I did this and helped you with that, understand that, would you be able to make a decision? Right? Yes or no. And then they'll either tell you yes or no, or I'd ask them another thing that the same SVP. trained on beforehand was something about asking them on a scale of 1 to 10 where they are in joining the business, right? Where are you at with becoming a customer? Where are you at with becoming a business partner with me and growing this beyond, beyond? Because my vision is so huge, right? Where are you at with joining me?
That's
And then
awesome.
they'll give you wherever they're at.
Now, are some of the tools in terms of when you're asking somebody to get off that fence and make a decision, how do you use second viewings, different presentations, other tools, let's say, to help them make those decisions and move them into a yes or a no?
Yeah. Well, it's all about exposures, right? So hardly anybody makes the decision on the first time that they see it. So that's another thing, just to remember that. And that if you're lucky enough where somebody makes a decision immediately, then just be like, wow, that's amazing. But basically, when I ask them what kind of information they're looking for, that's what helps me to figure out where to direct them, right? So if it's that they just don't understand the system type of thing, well, then I know I can get them into system training, right? And I'll say, check it out. See, this is the second time you can watch the information, hear about it from somebody else, you know, find out exactly how it is that we make money, find out exactly how it is that we acquire a customer. Pretty much everything can be done in the system training. So I always just refer people to that.